Neith Division, The Path to a Stable Government. Group, the Neith Division. Information, Open Explanation of Terms. RAI equals Registered Asset Item. RAE equals Registered Asset Entity. Zone equals Levels. Our explanation. We are the Neith Division, a secretive splinter division of the Backrooms Bureau of Administration and Research, BBAR. We were created in 2006 by our founder, nicknamed Grell. Grell was the first of us to realize that the BBAR's rivals and the BBAR itself posed problems for the stability of civilization in the Backrooms. He realized that future wars were inevitable, and how dangerous they would become in an environment like the Backrooms. Image caption, our insignia. All of that helped us realize what must be done in order to create a proper government. The BBAR seeks to enforce law and order rather than control, but we are not the same. We know that, in order for humanity to reach the level of control they had in the front rooms, they must seize the opportunity given to our parent government to control the other factions from the shadows. With groups like the Major Explorer Group and the Unbound Explorers Coalition butting heads with each other, they have already proved that war will inevitably be provoked by their attempt to overthrow each other. As of now, we realize that we, the Neith Division, and the BBAR have the high ground in terms of technological advances. Therefore, we must absolutely prevent this cataclysm from happening. Log of Persons of Interest / Relevant Organizations. Persons of Interest. Callum Andrews. Classification. Allied. Description. Callum Andrews is the CEO of the allied group, the Backrooms Robotics, as well as the leader of Soul. He is one of our greatest allies and provides our organization with technology able to perform the tasks needed in order to prevent the other groups from suppressing us in terms of technological advances. Nara Kagan / The Augur. Classification. Capture if found. Description. Nara Kagan was a fortune teller, which has had reports of being perfectly accurate in every single one of his interactions. Nowadays, he is currently on the run from Meg officials. It is currently believed that he resides somewhere within Zone 004. Note, see Level 4, Abandoned Office. But this is only speculation. We need to keep an eye on him, as someone with such an abnormal ability could easily be exploited by other factions. Groups of relevance. Backrooms Robotics / Soul. Threat classification. Allied. They are the ones who made the breakthroughs of the Neith Division possible. Yellow and the Backrooms Robotics are one of our greatest allies and provide us with the technology needed to advance and modify existing assets. Footnote. An asset is the term that the Neith Division uses to refer to objects with potential for improvement. End footnote. The Anti-Entity Agency, AEA, note, see Level 11, the Endless City. Threat Classification, Allied, an agency of specialists who acts as pest control for entities that cause us problems. They will get most jobs done for a hefty payment, which we can always afford. They are very professional at their jobs. The Shuffle Squad, note, see Level 317, Neon Shuffle. Threat classification. Allied for now. One of our newfound allies and greatest bases of operation. After their leader, J. Nesco, the conductor. Footnote. J. Nesco is the self-given name of Zone 317's conductor. End footnote. Was slain by the terrorist group known as the Iron Fist. We seized the opportunity to claim the newfound land by allying ourselves with the Shuffle Squad in promise of keeping their level stable and active. However, their alliance with us may be threatened by the possibility of J. Nesco being alive via communication through RAI 317 C. Note, C Level 317, Neon Shuffle. Heavily monitoring is recommended. The Onslaught Station. Note: Sea Level 158. Threat Classification: Allied for now. One of our newfound allies and greatest bases of operation, in a similar fashion to how Shuffle Squad lost their conductor and almost their entire zone, the Onslaught Station lost theirs and almost went out of business from its instability. After the near destruction of Zone 158, we made a deal with the members of Onslaught Junkies United to protect the Onslaught Station if they allowed us to use the level as a training outpost for newer recruits of the Task Force Pyramid. Footnote: refers to the affiliates and members section. End footnote. Once again, however, their alliance with us may be threatened by the possibility of OzCon. Footnote: OzCon is the alias and self-given name of the Onslaught Station's conductor. End footnote. Being alive. Luckily, however, there doesn't appear to be any proof of OzCon returning. Other groups of relevance: the Meg, threat classification, interact only when needed. The most famous of the groups, they are a faction which allowed humanity to traverse the lands they would normally know nothing about. They possess a large portion of territories within the Backrooms, and have a public database in which they share all kinds of information regarding the Backrooms. Whilst being a gray area of the higher factions, they have shown cases in which they have made controversial decisions or have raised tensions with other factions. Heavy monitoring is recommended. The UEC, threat classification, interact only when needed. The Unbound Explorers Coalition is a large backrooms group and perhaps one of the most dangerous of the main three factions. They rival the likes of Meg and the BBAR in terms of territory, though, unlike the others, they made their earnings by using more controversial means. The Eyes of Argos, threat classification, do not interact unless forced to. An ancient yet still active vigilante group supposedly worshipping the pantheon deity Argos. They are an active threat to our operations due to their efficiency and surprisingly advanced arsenal. The Masked Maidens, threat classification, do not interact unless forced to. A group of masked vigilantes who frequently target those who they consider to be quote unquote corrupt. They actively hack into our databases and attack members of our organization. Despite not being a large group, they are a massive threat to our operations because of how surprisingly effective they are. The Black Knights, threat classification, unknown, error, underscore, information, underscore, currently, underscore, available. Please check again later. Log of personnel / organization task forces. A log of our known personnel. Amongst here is a log of our known affiliates and members. Grell, rank status, administrator and creator of the Neith division. Mike Leonard, rank status, third in command, currently the manager of the Onslaught Station and Neon Shuffle outposts. Daniel Lance, rank status, class 3 engineer / objects expert. Our task forces: Task Force Jewel, the agents and spies of our organization. Their purpose is to penetrate the other group's territories and, above all, to transmit valuable information from their databases to ours. Task Force Jewel also plays a role in obtaining items from the outposts of other factions. We owe them a lot for all the information about the zones and assets they obtained for us. Task Force Pyramid, the masked soldiers of our organization. These are the people who are sent to directly infiltrate or head into the other group's territories. They are also tasked with capturing our persons of interest / assets. Usually, they are the ones getting their hands dirty, and thanks to them, we can be safe and protected during our operations. The Task Force Pyramid operates in numerous locations. Task Force Iris, the scientists / engineers of our organization. The Iris branch is one of the most important of our organization. They are the ones responsible for our equipment, our weapons, and the modification of assets. Without them, we wouldn't be able to thrive like we are now. Task Force Iris is stationed in numerous designated zones. Footnote: Zone is the term for levels in the BBAR and Neith division databases, End footnote. Iris is stationed in numerous designated zones. Log of pre- and post-modification to assets. Examples of successful and failed modification to assets. Open explanation of terms. RAI equals registered asset item. RAE equals registered asset entity. Zone equals levels. Thanks to the combined efforts of all the members and allies that took part in our efforts, we had managed to capture and modify the many assets and creatures of the Backrooms to the organization's benefits. The following is a list of assets and their modified counterparts. Affected asset RAE 66. Note, see Entity 66, Shocker Goals. Before Neith improvements, a parasitical reaction caused by Zone 88's shockers. When a human is fused with the shocker, their consciousness will be erased and they will be transformed into a shocker ghoul. Upon Neith improvements, a parasitical reaction caused by Zone 88's shockers. When groups of people interact with shockers, they will be affected by RAE 66 and be transformed into shocker ghouls. Successful results? Success. Affected asset RAE 131 A. Before Neith improvements. An entity which appears as a skeletal being made of electrical static. RAE 131 A uses the screens found on zones and hunts through them by using the TV screens as its own portal entrances to hunt its prey. Upon Neith improvements, an artificial intelligence system used by our organization which will summon skeletal beings to prevent intrusive entities and wanderers from maliciously acting against our staff. Successful results? Mostly a success. Our affected asset RAE 220. Note, see Entity 220, the Cat Master. Before Neith improvements, the third child of the pantheon deity, Gatekeeper, which takes the form of a black house cat with glowing white eyes and black liquid leaking out of its ears. When fed, Entity will regurgitate a key that, when used, allows users to go to any zone they wish to. Upon Neith improvements, none, the creature escaped before experimentation could begin. Successful results? Failure. Footnote. For the sake of Operation Mercury, find it now. End footnote. Affected asset RAI 317 B. Note, see level 317, Neon Shuffle. Before Neith improvements, a series of small transparent handguns created by the conductor of Zones 317, which is identified by the Neon Shuffle as phantom wormholes. When fired, the pistols will teleport the user to any place that the bullets land. Living things hit by these pistols will not be affected, and instead, they will be injured in the same way as if they had been hit by a regular bullet. Upon Neith improvements, a series of small transparent handguns that, when paired with a Neith marker, will make drawn-on surfaces act like a checkpoint. Upon use, the modified asset will teleport the user to any drawn surfaces. Successful results? Success. However, the items are limited in number. Efforts to manufacture the asset is underway.